when I knew I was going to do this, if I was going to put my name on it, it was going to be good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Jonathan, how you doing, man?
Man, listen, every day we get to meet these new people and you start off going, all right, it's going to be fun. And it just turns out better than it ever should be. Like, what an incredible opportunity for us to hang out with cool people. And
Yeah.
Josh Stevie's just another one. Like a guy that immediately you're like, oh yeah, we should go play golf. We should hang out. We should do, even if it's not playing golf, we're already talking about meeting up with him and some other fun folks over in Aiken later on in March. So
Yeah.
what a good day.
No, it's always a good day. Like you said, the best part of this for us, and we've told him, like, it's meeting people. And,
Right.
I connected with him online, and obviously we know a ton of the people that he's working with, and just said, hey, we'd love to do this. And he's like, yeah, let's jump on a call first. So I've already had a call with him before just to get
Yep.
to know him a little better. He's just incredible. And our chat with him that you guys are about to hear is everything I would hope it would be and more. So yeah, y'all are going to appreciate it. Yeah. Josh Stevie, he's in charge of the Carolinas Golf Magazine, which if you're not one of the 250,000 people that receive that thing, you should be. And I loved your question, Jonathan. It's not just for people in the Carolinas. Yeah,
Right.
that's the large market, but the Carolinas has so much to offer to other people. People from all over the country have been coming to the Myrtle Beaches and Hilton Heads and stuff for golf, but there's a ton of great golf in the Carolinas, and they are highlighting it with really high level production on what they do. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. One thing that I really liked was one of his answers about the friendships that are built. The best part of golf is the friendships. And it's, you might not have known the person prior to. I think to our example of going to St. Andrews, we get paired up with Adam and Andrew. And
Yeah.
now after 3 days there with them, they're good friends. And
Right.
like, we look forward to chatting. We're on a text thread. We talk all the time. And so stuff like that, that is really the whole idea behind what we're doing with the BestBall Golf Club,
Yeah.
right? It's bridging those friendships, helping to nurture those. So anybody that's interested in a community of people like that, people you kind of meet by chance or meet on the course, or in this case, maybe meet through a Slack channel or through the club, you meet people, you get to know them, you find ways to play golf or just have good conversations, even from afar. So if you're interested in that, check out bestball.com. Look at the Best Ball Golf Club. It's not for everybody, but we want people in there that love golf for their relationships and the friendships that come from it. So, Jonathan, you are rocking multiple layers of Summit Golf Brands material, zero restriction, Beach Ready. We're very thankful for those guys. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
I am, mainly because it's still cold here in the Southeast, our version of cold. So it's going to be 50 something this afternoon. So I am already dressed and ready that as soon as we're done with these podcasts, I'm going to go out and try to grab 9 holes. So I've got a nice little Beach Ready, quarter zip with my zero restriction best ball vest. And, I'm looking forward to the one day of hopefully no rain, no snow, and some warm weather in probably the last week or so. So
yeah, it has made me think, just talking about the weather, and we're recording this early February, and the snow has now melted. We had it for a couple days. The snow has melted, and we can get back out and play golf. So we had like a 5-day stretch where we couldn't go play golf, and
maybe 4 or 5 days.
I'm just sitting there thinking about these northern states and all the people that we know up there, that they really do say they have an off season, because from like late October, November through March, April timeframe, they don't get to touch a club outside on a golf course. And very fortunate for where we live. And that, I guess, relates well to the Carolinas Golf Magazine that we talked about today. But no, Summit Golf Brands is doing incredible things. As we record this today, February 3rd, Bedrati just released their spring line. So go check that out.
Already making my wish list.
I know it'll be out for a while, but go to any of those websites, and if you use BestBall20, you can get 20% off your order. We got a lot of fun things in the works. We've got some course corrections videos, that are out. We've got some fun, exciting things coming with the other shows. So check out all the different things that Best Ball has going on. And if you have questions about any of it, like it's just Jonathan and I, like reach out, ask. We're happy that we answer emails. It'll be coming from us, one of us. So yeah, reach out. We'd love to get to know people that are listening to the show. Even the folks like Jonathan, we have listeners in Hong Kong and all random places. I think we're at 82 countries throughout the
That's
world right now, which is
and
hard to believe.
I I can't believe 82 people want to listen to this some days because it's just you and me hanging out, and then there's
Yeah.
82 countries. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So if you are listening to this from another country, please do shoot us an email at
Let us know.
info at
Right.
bestball.com. Say, hey, this is Mike from Australia. This is Bill from Hong Kong. This is what like, and yeah, just reach out. We'd love to chat. Love to see, what you like about what we're doing with this podcast or any other things that we're doing at Best Ball. So yeah, let's get to Josh Stueve, our interview with him today. Y'all enjoy. All right, Josh Stueve, cracking us up before we hit record with very kind things he was saying. But Josh, welcome to the Whole Story Podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks, Robbie. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for those that don't know, I'm actually holding up my copy here of Carolina's
Nice.
Golf Magazine. Yes, very proud reader, subscriber, recipient of that. But yeah, before we get into actually what you're doing for the magazine and the association and all that stuff, we ask all our guests, like, how did you get involved in golf? Like, when was the first time you put a club in hand, hit that magical shot, which said, hey, I
Yeah.
kind of like this game?
Yeah, well, hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Again, like I said, it's a lifelong dream of mine to be on the Best Ball podcast, the whole story. It was this or Joe Rogan, and you guys asked first, so
We
I,
did
I
ask first.
appreciate
Sorry,
the
Joe.
opportunity. Yeah. No, look, hey, for me, it's funny. I've had a lot of friends over the years sort of call me Josh Gump, and that I find myself in these like Gumpian situations where I just through no strategic planning of of my own, I end up in these kind of extraordinary moments. And so, yeah, for me, golf was just my best friend who was my neighbor. His father introduced me to the game at like 10. Um, now we call him Pops. He's actually traveling back to Ohio for his 80th birthday next month, and he still plays, and we still try to play together. So that was kind of my first introduction. And then in terms of like my professional career, and I spent 10 years on active duty in the Marine Corps.
Thank you.
And, I appreciate that. I did 5 years in a rifle platoon with a bunch of deployments, and then I got hurt, and they let me change my job to journalism, sent me to journalism school. And so after I got out, I went back to Ohio State University, go Bucks, and got into the professional golf management program. So that was kind of my first introduction into the professional side of golf. And one thing led to another. And now here I am in Wilmington, North Carolina, as editor in chief of Carolina's Golf Magazine. So it's been a wild ride.
Well, clearly you fell in love with golf at some point in the mix of the Marines because you don't just
Yeah.
leave the Marines and go, you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Professional golf management.
Yeah.
So were you like hitting 9 irons down range, or I mean, what is
Yeah.
that?
A little bit. Yeah. I actually did hit balls off of a ship into the Baltic Sea.
That's cool.
But yeah, I was stationed in Spain. I lived over in Spain for about 5 years. I was part of a kind of a quick reaction force team over there that kind of deployed everywhere. But I did get to put the Navy base had a little golf course, the Rota golf course. So I got into it a little bit there. And then I spent 2 years in San Diego, which was fantastic because I lived out on Mission Beach, and Torrey Pines was the municipal course, and they gave active duty military resident rates for $30. So I got to play Torrey for $30. And then my next duty station was Garden City, New York, which is about 20 minutes from Bethpage. Also a municipal course. And so I got to play
How did you
Bethpage for
get the
30
Gump
bucks.
nickname again?
Yeah,
Right.
see, like I like, again, not strategic in any way.
So
I just kind of fell into this.
So all you golf friends out there, go to any marine recruiting station, and you too can play
Yeah, yeah,
exotic and local
Yeah.
golf courses.
exactly.
That's.
Yeah, make
Are
sure
you sure you
that's
weren't a
in the
recruiter at
contract.
some point? You're like, listen, I joined the Marines. I play golf everywhere. I promise you, it's not that bad.
I did. I mean, I was fortunate. Even when I was in Spain, I think probably the first like notable course I played, because when I was a kid, we grew up pretty humble environment, and we weren't poor, but we were. My dad was a plumber, my mom was a secretary. We didn't belong to a country club or anything like that. So, we'd sneak on to the par 3 course in Dayton, Ohio, and play at this place called Kitty Hawk. But when I was over in Spain, I think the first kind of notable course I ever played was Valderrama. And I was at the time, I was probably a 15 or 20 handicap, and um, as a lance corporal in the Marine Corps, I was probably making like $800 a month. And that course, even then, in like 2000, cost me, I want to say it was like $350 to play it,
Ooh.
which was way out of bounds for me. But went and played it, and that's really, I think, when I kind of caught the bug of like, oh, like from an architectural standpoint, like this is different, and I'm intrigued as to why it's different, and then why do I like it? And so that's kind of where I got my sort of the architecture nerd that I am now. So I think it was kind of born on that day.
Yeah. So how do you go from the last 5 years doing journalism and being trained with that
Mhm.
kind of degree to then saying, yeah, I want to go to PGA management school? Like, was there some kind of connection you were hoping to bridge there?
No, again, I was just kind of, any way the wind blows. And, I knew I loved golf. I couldn't stay in the Marine Corps. I'd had some kind of a family tragedy happen, and had it. My girlfriend at the time, her sister unexpectedly passed away, and she was the mother of a 3-year-old little girl. So we adopted her, and so I was not going to be in a situation where I got deployed again, and this kid lost another parent. So I decided to leave the Marine Corps and go back to school. Had no clue what I was going to do. I knew I liked golf and teaching, and so I was like, "Oh, there's this program where you can become a golf teacher." And so and I can be outside, and maybe I can do that. And so that's really kind of how I pursued that angle. And then, as the world works in funny ways, the very beginning of my senior year, I got a call from a relationship that I had made when I was in New York City, and they asked me to come back and be the spokesman for this clinical research institute on traumatic brain injury and severe post-traumatic stress at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Washington.
Hmm.
And it was early 2010, and the housing crisis and the job market was awful. I was making $8 an hour picking the range at Scioto Country Club, and folding t-shirts in the golf shop when I could. And I was 29 years old. I had a wife, a daughter, and it just, you know, I couldn't. I knew I would have to invest another 5 to 10 years as like an assistant pro to even make a halfway decent living, and this was the proverbial offer I could not refuse. So I went back into public service and worked as a spokesman for the Department of Defense for a couple years, which turned into 7 years as press secretary for the U.S. Attorney in Virginia, and then 5 years as national spokesman for the Department of Justice in Washington, before about a year ago, when we made the move down to North Carolina, and then back into golf. So it's been a long and winding road.
He probably had a complimentary membership to congressional while he was in
Right.
DC as well.
Right.
He just don't
I
want to
wish.
mention that to add on. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so the move to Wilmington, right? Yeah, you and I
yeah.
talked about this before, but that was for the Carolina Golf Association, correct?
So we actually moved down to Wilmington, candidly, just to get out of DC. And we had vacationed here a handful of times. So we just had loved the area. My wife is fully remote. So we just decided to leave and move to Wilmington and figure it out. So again, one of
It's a
those
good place to
situations.
figure it out.
Yeah, it is. It's a great place to figure it out. Although we did get 6 inches of snow the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our first winter in Wilmington, and we have a generational blizzard, which is again my luck. But yeah, no, just moved down here, and a friend of mine who works in the industry, and he said, "Hey, there's this job that I think you would be perfect for. The Carolinas Golf Association is looking for someone senior to come in and run their media marketing efforts." And I had resisted actually working in golf for a long time. I'd had several opportunities. I'd written for the Golfers Journal and done stuff with Linksoul and Dormy Network and Youth on Course and National Links Trust and on and on. But I had kind of done that work as passion projects because my day job as national spokesman for the Justice Department was, kind of crisis communications at the highest level. And it was very stressful. I mean, there was one time where I had 4 cell phones. So that gives you a
Oh,
bit of an insight into it was a 24/7, 365. Your agency is on the front page of the newspaper for better or for worse on almost every day. So it was really stressful. And so golf was kind of the thing that I did to escape that. And I didn't want to work in golf because I didn't want golf to become my job. I didn't and become something that was stressful. And so I had resisted those opportunities, but then when the circumstances presented itself here, I just thought, you know what? If I'm ever going to give this a shot again, like this feels right. Like let's do that.
Yeah. Well, talking about golf, you mentioned crisis and stressful. Sometimes playing golf can be those things. So you didn't
That's right.
completely run away from it. You just found different ways to deal with it. So,
That's right.
yes. So, Carolinas Golf Association, and I know one of the
Hmm.
big projects you've had was, again, revamping the Carolinas Golf
Yeah.
Magazine, which is incredible. And I think the fun thing for, an outsider observer, resident of the Carolinas to see is the people that we have gotten to know through Best Ball and what we're doing, the
Yeah.
Matt Gibsons, the Matt
Yeah.
Juniors, and all these other people that are doing amazing things with their cameras and all this other stuff. They are working with you to help make this thing incredible. So
They
talk
are.
about just the team
Yeah.
of people that you've built to help tell some stories.
Yeah. Look, I am beyond grateful and fortunate. We have so much talent, creative talent here in the Carolinas. I mean, I would put our 25-man roster up against anybody. So yeah, when I started working for the Carolinas Golf Association, I kind of quickly realized that the magazine was a sleeping giant. It goes to 250,000 people throughout the Carolinas every quarter.
wow.
Um, and it was it was in need of a bit of a refresh, and I really felt like it was something that if we shifted to kind of a lifestyle and people, places, and culture of golf in the Carolinas theme, that not only would it really resonate with the overwhelming majority of our members, but our brand partners would love it too. And selfishly, I kind of applied my Golfers Journal experience to this and knew that like this is what people are after. This is what they want. So um, we made the decision. Andy Priest at the Carolinas Golf Association was instrumental in this, and he was the one that greenlit it and really gave us the opportunity to be super creative and to try this. And so when I knew I was going to do this, if I was going to put my name on it, it was going to be good. And so I started reaching out to some creative friends that I had, photographers like you mentioned, Matt Gibson, Matt Jr., Billy Richards,
Mhm.
Zach and Andy Pisagno, Ryan Barnett, William Rainey, Chandler Hatch. Like, the list goes
And
on.
again,
Ryan
all in the
Cummings,
Carolinas, which is
all
really
in the
crazy.
Right.
Carolinas. Extraordinary.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to a couple guys, Dave Baisden as well, and I just said, "Hey, I'm going to do this, but I need your help. Like I have a vision, but I'm good at leading and organizing and managing and all of that stuff, but I don't have the skills that you guys have. Would you help me do this?" And not only did they all say yes, like emphatically, they all said yes, and also like talk to this guy and then talk to
Yeah.
this guy. And so we kind of quickly built this informal group, and then I realized, like, why don't we turn this into something? And so we created the Carolinas Golf Collective.
Mhm.
And so there's about a dozen of us who are part of the collective, all of those guys that I just mentioned. and they're really the creative engine that runs Carolina's Golf Magazine. And so you will see their work featured in every issue, and they are just, as you guys know, extraordinarily talented, even better people. And we've got a couple issues under our belt. We've got some really cool things planned for 2026.
Well, it almost feels like it would be a waste if you have 250,000 of these things going out to not harness that horsepower, because the people that you mentioned and their passion
Yeah.
for golf and the passion for their skills. So talk about, like, I'm assuming, or maybe you can share, where does it go next? Because that quality of
Hmm.
those individuals, along with, it sounds like, your drive to at least be in golf for 5 more years, because it sounds like every 5 years you're going to flip flop between the Marines and golf. And I mean, you got four
Yeah.
more years. So where
Yeah.
does that go next, using the collective, if you will?
Yeah. Well, look, I think we've got a pretty extraordinary platform, right? We've got an
Yeah.
incredibly large and engaged audience that we're currently sharing with now, and then with the creative talents that we have, and then just as you guys know, the never-ending storytelling opportunities
Yeah.
that exist across North and South Carolina, both endemic and non-endemic, and from a culture standpoint, from a course and club and architecture standpoint, to it's just kind of never ending. And so, really, the challenge has been not like, what are we going to do next, and we need to find stories. It's really been about being selective and intentional about the stories that we are going to tell, because we can't tell them all.
Mhm. Right.
um and so, you probably saw in the last issue we did this, huge sweeping photo essay of fall golf in Western North Carolina. And, I had some incredible photography from Matt Jr. and Matt Gibson and Billy Richards and Drew Amato, Ryan Cummings, that, at Grandfather and at Biltmore Forest and at Waynesville and Sequoia. Um, we also did yeah, I really want our storytelling to be kind of human centered. And so we did a story on Carr Crow, who's the head golf professional at Sequoia National and one of the only Native American PGA professionals in the industry. While we were out in Asheville, we did a story on the Asheville Muni 1 year post Helene, and sort of where their recovery efforts are. So, um, look, in my view, this is an opportunity to do meaningful storytelling
Yeah.
that goes beyond the scorecard, really. There's a place for storytelling about elite amateur golf in the Carolinas. There's a lot of it. We've got some incredible players, and CGA has a long history of running excellent events, and having a lot of great players come through here. But the 98% of our membership that are not elite amateur golfers, they're also interested in the game beyond the course and beyond the scorecard. And I really think that that's where Carolina's golf is going to fit in.
Mm.
Well, I think, like you mentioned, like there's so many great things, and you just referenced the Western North Carolina piece, and there's
Hmm.
so many different regions throughout the Carolinas that should and will be celebrated by you guys. But again, it's about the people, and I personally really love the feature on Dave Baisden.
Yeah.
Dave, a few years ahead of me at South Carolina. Jonathan gives me a hard time because we've had a number of guests that have South Carolina ties. But Dave is the exact type of person. You mentioned the pro a second ago, but those are the type of people that are doing such incredible things in the game of golf that they should be
Hmm.
recognized and celebrated, and inform the 250,000 people that this really cool thing, this person that's doing something awesome in golf is here in the Carolinas. So
Yeah,
I I think it's great. I love again, golf is people, and it's the storytelling piece of that. So I'm
yeah,
excited to see the next few stories that come out.
yeah. Well, we're excited for the spring issue. We've got some more of that for sure. To your point about Dave and about the other creatives that are here, the way that I view it, these are people who are shaping the way that we view and experience golf
Mhm.
here in the Carolinas. And having the opportunity to tell their story and get it in front of our audience. And yeah, I mean, I've received dozens of emails from people at our editor at Carolina's Golf email address asking to be put in touch with Dave because they're so impressed by his work and his story, and they want to reach out to him and just say hello or say thank you or ask him to like do a piece for them, or whatever it is, from individuals to clubs and others. In the spring issue, we've got more of that coming. So
Nice.
we're excited to continue telling those very human centered stories.
Well, so Jonathan and I
And
need to hurry up to get all these people on the podcast before they get released. Thankfully, we've already
Yeah.
had Dave on the podcast
Yeah.
because, I mean, once it hits the shelves, then it's
Yeah.
gonna be hard to book him for sure.
I heard Dave's going on Joe Rogan next, so this is going to work out
Is
really well
he?
for you too. Yeah, you start with the
Man,
whole story, you move on to Joe.
look, you give this guy a platform and he just blows up.
He really
I,
does.
I'll tell you what's really interesting, or what I find intriguing, and I sort of, the Carolinas are my adopted state of sorts. I'm just across the river in Augusta, Georgia, so it's not like we're far
Oh,
removed. But the golfing world is almost exploding down here. And whenever you talk about
mhm,
telling the story to people in the Carolinas, that story is going way further than just these two states, right? Like
definitely.
the reach and the impact of suddenly South Carolina is getting on everyone's bucket list of the golf trip
Hmm.
and finding these other courses. So how do you see that being able to tell not only the story to the locals, like, hey, did you realize there's more than Pinehurst in this
Right.
area? But how do you see that transitioning to the rest of the country?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Jonathan. And I'll actually be down your way here in a few weeks. So I'll give you a little bit of a preview on the spring issue. So the anchor story for the spring issue is going to be this piece called "The Road to Augusta." And it's essentially a kind of a buddy's trip, which will be a photo essay originating in Pinehurst and ending in Augusta. So we're going to be stopping at a couple places along the way. Starting out kind of at Pine Needles and one of our partners, Golf Pride, and hitting Camden Country Club on the way down, Cheraw State Park, um, and uh, and then finishing at Palmetto in Aiken.
Yeah,
And then on the way back, we're gonna stop, and the guys at Broom's Edge have just been fantastic to us, and we're gonna stop there for a round of golf on the way back. So, but that's just to illustrate your point of like, the diversity of golf, from public golf to private golf throughout the Carolinas, and the distinct geographic regions from the mountains to the coast, and the Intracoastal and Myrtle and Hilton Head and kind of the Sand Belt. And it's just the storytelling opportunities are endless. And I think, to your point, the industry is obviously already all over this, right? You've seen Aiken itself blow up with
right.
Tree Farm and Old Barnwell and 21 Club and on and on and on. And Broomsedge close by down there. So yeah, I think your average kind of golfer, a guy who might be looking to plan a trip here or there with his buddies, is now probably going to try to consider, inland South Carolina, just
Right.
beyond Myrtle and Hilton Head, if they're fortunate enough to have connections to get on in some of those places.
That's for
Jonathan
sure.
said if you need a lefty for your
Right.
tour of the Carolinas leading to
Yeah.
Augusta, he'd be
I've
happy to jump in.
I've never even heard
He's a
of the state
left-handed version of
park.
Tommy Fleetwood, right?
Tommy
With the hair
Fleetwood is my
flowing.
spirit
He
animal, but
does.
that's as
Yeah.
far as it gets. Hey, I did want to ask this because I just thought about it. So, with you being in the military, obviously being on post and stuff like that, I have fallen in love with military golf. I'm leaving this afternoon. I'm a member at Fort Gordon. It's the best value. I preach it all the time. I pay $500 for a civilian rate for the year. I'm going to go walk
That's
9 holes
awesome.
for $3. But I
Oh
also
boy.
get reciprocal whenever I go to other military bases.
Yeah.
Has that been a consideration of saying, could we highlight, because there are a number of military bases
Yeah.
in the Carolinas, to look at what they're doing with golf and how they're using that both for the civilian side as well as the military side?
That's a great letter to the editor there,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
listen, I've literally fallen in love with it.
Yeah.
Fort Gordon has been great. I've never been a member of any golf course anywhere, and then
Yeah.
I found out that they offer it. It's almost like private golf, like,
Yeah.
because it's you gotta get on
Empty.
post in order to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a lot of people that are out there all the time. And then, like I
Yeah.
said, Robbie and I play at Fort Jackson. I don't know if there's other, and I had a friend of mine that was in the Air Force a while. He said you can always tell whenever the commander likes golf because then the golf course turns really nice. He's like, if
That's
they don't
very true.
care, because if they
Yep.
don't care, it's not great. But once they switch commanders, if they really like
Yep.
golf, it turns into a great place.
Yeah, they control the purse strings, that's for sure. Look, I mean,
Yeah,
I've played, I played at a handful of the different bases that I was stationed. Miramar out in San Diego had a good course. Um, Obviously, the one that I mentioned in Spain, it was good. They're kind of what you would expect. They do what they can with the minimal maintenance budget that they have.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, here in the Carolinas, which is such a military rich tradition,
hmm,
and a lot of military bases, that could be a cool angle to kind of explore. I mean, it is a little bit of a piece of, so this spring issue is going to be kind of, Carolina's golf is going to be kind of Masters adjacent theme. And one of the pieces we're doing is kind of a definitive article on George Cobb, who designed the par three course at Augusta National and over 60 courses throughout the Carolinas, but including several of the military courses. And that will be definitely an element of that storytelling on
that's
George Cobb.
awesome. That's
That's great.
great.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about the road trip or the road to Augusta that you were talking about, and we mentioned the different new courses that are coming, and you said Broom Sedge in there, but the other three courses, the Pine Needles, the Palmetto, the Cheraw State Park, all those are like, I don't say historic. Some are very historic, but they
Hmm.
are the old, faithful, like just great golf courses that people can
Yeah.
explore. And so, I love the Aiken Golf Club, right? So, or other places like that. Like I was looking at something the other day, the Kershaw Golf Club, like all
Hmm.
these, you know, county or just local courses in the Carolinas that aren't the brand new, shiny tires and stuff like that, but it's the
Yeah.
really good golf in our backyard, right?
Absolutely. Look, and the Carolinas is blessed to have such a wide diversity, right? Like yeah, as the Carolinas were one of the very first places in the country to introduce golf into the United States. There are a lot of, well, maybe a lot is probably a stretch, but there's a fair number of clubs who can trace their histories back to pre 1900, so like 1890s. Now here in Wilmington, Cape Fear Country Club is 1896, one of the original founding clubs of the Carolinas Golf Association. And Palmetto is on that list, and Camden Country Club, which
Hmm.
is where also we'll also be going on the road to
Oh yeah,
Augusta, is an 1890 something
great course.
course. So like, yeah, to your point, Robbie, though, like having having those kinds of courses in your backyard that have just such a deep traditions and history, and from Donald Ross, Bobby Jones, and like, all of these great names throughout our history, and the player, from the architects to the players, to having these, the other end of the spectrum, right, is having these brand new clubs that are being built, and they're being built here in our backyard. It just gives us such a wide spectrum of golf to enjoy, and it's incredibly unique. I feel like to this part of the country.
It does seem like the biggest problem you have is time and
Yeah,
and pages, right? The
yeah,
amount of pages and stories that you can put in each issue.
yeah,
So, yeah, to Jonathan's question earlier, what's next? I mean,
yeah,
again, golf stories are endless, and here in the Carolinas, we're blessed with countless stories that you can be doing
yeah.
this for a long time, and everything's new because there's so many great stories they're out there to be told.
Yeah, it's very true. Look, we've actually increased our page count. We went from 32 pages to 48 pages. And I think that there's probably a decent opportunity there for us to go up to 64 or even more, to do more storytelling, and include more partners in that. So we're excited for the future of Carolina's golf. For this spring issue is obviously going to be a Masters adjacent issue, and we're sort of going on that road to Augusta from Pinehurst down to Aiken. Um, and I think in the summer and the fall we'll probably head out to the coast for one of those, and you know uh and yeah, I definitely want to get up to the Outer Banks as well. I haven't been up there and played any golf up there, and explored that region and discovered some of those stories up there. So again, I don't think every issue is going to be sort of regionally focused, but it's just when you end up going to these places, you just kind of organically you know come across these stories that just feel very indigenous to that location. And so it just our fall issue, we were down in Myrtle Beach, and we told couple stories that were kind of very Myrtle centric. And then, the winter issue took us to the mountains. The spring issue is taking us on the road to Augusta. And, I have no doubt that we're going to explore Charleston and Hilton Head and the Outer Banks and more of the Sand Belt going forward. So it's an exciting time for Carolinas golf.
Man, it's an exciting time for your road trip of where you get to go play golf. I'm sitting here thinking, golly, I should have gone into golf journalism at some point. Then I could have gone and played.
We are in
Yeah.
golf. We are in golf
We are in
journalism,
golf
Jonathan.
Yeah.
journalism now. That's true. I
This
forgot.
is serious journalism, Jonathan.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
just get to go ask people and tell stories about it. So
Yeah.
in a different medium. So
Yeah, definitely.
oh, very nice. Well, we could keep picking your brain about all this stuff. Do you play much golf in Wilmington? I guess we didn't ask that yet.
It's funny. People always say like you don't when you actually work in golf, you don't play as much as you would think, and that's kind of true, Jonathan. To your point, like I am on the road quite a bit for different stories for the magazine throughout the year, and I go to a lot of these places, but it's not uncommon to go and not play,
Yeah.
right? Because you're working and you're interviewing people, and you're doing the photography, and you're doing the storytelling, and so you might squeeze in a couple holes, but it's rare to kind of get around to just go out and play and enjoy wherever it is that you are. But I always try. So yeah, here in Wilmington, I've actually met a handful of guys who are members at Cape Fear and have invited me out a bunch of times. So it's 5 minutes from my house, so it's great. So I've been playing most of my golf there. I might get out, once every other week or so when there's not 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah. That's a pretty good
Yeah.
home course to have there in Wilmington.
Oh, that place is amazing.
Yeah.
Elliot Jones is the director of golf there, and Jeremy Weatherton is, his head pro, and that team there is just fantastic. The golf course is amazing. It's incredible walking course, and always in fantastic shape.
Yeah. Well, one question, and as we start moving towards the end of this, because we could pick your brain about golf in the Carolinas for a long time, but
Yeah.
we ask all of our guests to share the story of the most memorable golf shot. And as a former riflesman, I imagine like your accuracy is pretty good, so there's probably going to be a
Yeah.
good one.
My most memorable golf shot. Well, two kind of come to mind. Um, the first one is a handful of years ago. Again, this is another Gumpian story. I was out in Monterey I was on the board of this charity. And we had an event out there, and I got an opportunity to play at Cypress Point, which was my all time.
Just happened.
If you said you had one round of golf to play anywhere and then you'll never play again, it would have been there. Um, and so the first tee at Cypress is right outside of the pro shop. Um, and you have to hit the ball over these hedges that kind of were planted to block view of the road that leads into the club. So the tee is on one side of the road, and you have to hit over these bushes, over the road, into the first fairway. And I was deathly afraid of topping that ball into the bushes on my dream course, the very first shot of the day, and totally ruining the round. But thankfully, I did not, and I found the fairway, which was great. The other one would be it is totally on the other side of the spectrum. Just happened this last fall. Um, so I thought, being, working with Carolina's Golf Association, that I should probably play in one of our events and experience it, kind of see what it's like to play in one of these elite amateur events. So I signed up to play in the qualifier for the North Carolina Mid-Am at Oak Island, which is 30 minutes or so from my house in Wilmington. So went down, played it. I think I shot like a 88 or something like that. Did not play well in kind of a practice round the week before. Went back and played in the actual qualifier the next week. So I was one over going into 18. And I knew that I had not checked the score all day. I'm not a big score guy. I typically don't know what I'm shooting at the time. But I was standing on 18 and I was like, you know what? I think I'm playing pretty well. I'm probably close, I would bet, to qualifying. Like, let me check and see. And I 72 was going to make it. And I was at 70. If I would have made par, I would have made 71. So um, I hit my first drive into the woods. Not great. Chopped it back out into the fairway, laid up in front of the water, hit a next shot up onto the green. Long story short, I had about a 4-footer to make double bogey to qualify for the North Carolina Mid-Am, and not 4-putt on the last hole. And I made it, thankfully. So I qualified for the North Carolina Mid-Am with a knee knocker 4-footer to not make a 7 and 4-putt or 3-putt on the last hole of the qualifier. So that was a pressure shot for sure.
For
My
sure.
gosh, yeah, that's
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, and then don't be too happy for me. I went into the Mid-Am and I think I finished 113th of 114 players. So it was an absolute beast of a golf course. Southern Pines, they had it tipped out to probably 7,500 yards. There was a 600 and something yard par 5. I don't hit it very far. I hit it probably, 260, 270. And so it was a long 2 days for me, but it was a fun experience to earn my way into the event and
And
get
now
to
you can
play with
help
some guys.
encourage other people to come play in these events
Yeah.
because
Look, I would say that. Yeah. I mean, like, it was fun playing in a qualifier. If you haven't experienced that before, and yeah, it's kind of cool to get the juices flowing a little bit.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, Jonathan, why don't you kick us off on our quick 9? We do a little rapid fire thing. So I'll let Jonathan ask the first question. I think we already know the answer, so maybe we have to deviate a little bit on this one.
Yeah, we'll exclude Cyprus. What is the favorite course you've ever played?
Yeah, I mean, Cyprus would be first, and nothing else is even a close second. But I would probably say, I mean, Bandon is my favorite place in the world. I've been 6 times. I'm going in August with Gibson and Junior, actually, and Billy Richards.
Wow.
Yeah, we got an all-star team for that one. That one's going to be fun. And then I'm going in November with some. I was a member at Bellhaven Country Club up in Washington, and some buddies up there asked me to join their trip. So Bandon is my favorite place to go. Like, if it was up to me to plan a buddy's trip, that's where we're going. I love Bandon, and I love Sweetens Cove was amazing, kind of for its own reasons. It's very unique and distinct. And then this year, getting to play Biltmore Forest was amazing, and Grandfather. So that's not what you asked, Jonathan. That was more. That was cheating. But yeah.
Well, that leads to our next question, because Bandon is high on our bucket list, and so we have to ask if there's still a course that's on your bucket list to play.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like so many. I'm such an architecture nerd. I want to see like all the golden age stuff. Never been to St. Andrews. I've been to Scotland, but not for golf. So I want to see St. Andrews, I want to see Turnberry. I would love to see Royal Melbourne. So those are some of the ones that I'd be super excited to see and to travel to. Old Head, I mean, the list goes on and on. Lahinch, Ballybunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are different type of road trips for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we're gonna restrict this to the Carolinas since that's what you're kind of in charge of here. What
Okay.
is the favorite course that no one knows about?
Favorite course that no one knows about. Um, I tell you what, uh, I think Linville Ridge, uh, up in the mountains. I don't know. I don't. You guys probably have a better, finger on the pulse of this than I do. But like, a lot of people know Linville Golf Club, kind of down in the valley, and the history that they have there and everything. Right next to Grandfather. But Linville Ridge, up on the mountain, um, extraordinary. It's a private club, so you gotta cash in some chips with your friends to get out there.
You
But
got to run a magazine, whatever.
Right.
just make your own magazine.
There we go.
Clearly, you can do it. No, that place is phenomenal. And Matt Benton, the head golf professional there, is fantastic, and um, I was just blown away at that place because that is not what you expect when you think of mountain golf. It was just visually striking. All of this heather growing up around the golf course. We were there in the fall, and that's kind of the amber waves of grain contrast to the deep greens of the fairways and the greens and the bunkering was just amazing. You just did not expect that from mountain golf in North Carolina.
Yeah. I need to play more in mountain golf.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I don't know about you, but when he started saying Lynn, I thought he was going to go
I thought I was gonna say
Linrick
Linrick.
Golf Club,
Oh.
Linrick.
Richland County Golf Club here in Columbia. So
Oh, nice. Okay.
yeah,
Anytime we talk about someone's least favorite known or least known golf course, I always hope Linrick shows up with somebody else besides me.
Well, I have
from,
to put it on my list, guys.
I mean, it's not really ever in the greatest condition, but
No,
personally, and from very amateur golf architect fans, it's got a great layout.
it
So
does.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway.
needs $5 million.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a dream foursome. You guys will be out at Bandon in August, but who would be in your dream foursome? And we can exclude those guys unless
Right.
one of them really makes it. Yeah.
Well, I think the sentimental foursome would be my pops, and my two brothers, Joe and Ethan. Um, that would be my, if I had one round of golf left to play, it would be with them.
Great choice.
But then pop culture, stuff that people can relate to, Michael Jordan for sure. Probably Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Charles Barkley. That would be
That
that would
sounds
be my four. So I
expensive.
was yeah.
Be like, how about we do 1 penny on the dollar for our bets here?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think Jordan, Tiger, and Barkley would be a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
And Jordan was my childhood, hero.
Yeah.
So
Everybody. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right. What is your favorite snack on the golf course?
Um, I love a good Uncrustable, man. So I'll throw one of those in the bag before a round, and if I can make it to the sixth or seventh hole without eating it, that's a win. But then out on the golf course, like turn stand stuff.
Well, yeah.
I'll
Let me ask this question while you're
yeah.
thinking about that. Kind of a part B to the question. Thinking of Carolina's golf courses, what's like the one food in the at the turn that really
Mhm.
stands out that you've gotten to experience?
Man, that's a good question, Robbie.
Because that's what will get Jonathan to the golf course quicker than it's got really
Um,
nice greens and fairways.
I can
The
tell you all
food.
the food I've eaten at a golf course. Yes, I can always tell you my favorite. This whole entire question originated because I had tacos every 3 holes down in Cabo. So I'm here for food, not
Yeah,
for golf most of the time. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I'm a foodie and a fat kid at heart
yeah.
too, Jonathan. So I don't know that I have one that sticks out in the Carolinas just yet. To be fair, I've only had really one kind of season so far of traveling, although I put 20 to 30,000 miles on my car, I think, this past year. But some others that kind of that stand out is I had the Burger Dog at Olympic Club, which is
Oh
which is
man,
a legendary. Um, I had the PB&J and bacon at it was either Shinnecock or National Golf Links, one of the two.
Yeah.
I think it's National that does it. I had that last fall um, on a quick little jaunt up there to the Hamptons to play those two places.
If you have
Um,
to.
Yeah,
yeah,
It's
I
a
mean,
work
it
thing.
was
just a fall
actually,
Hampton trip.
you know what? Actually, it wasn't last fall. It was the fall before. It was when I was still up in DC.
It was a work trip.
Before, yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, you know that those kind of stick out to me um, as kind of the best, the ones that
It
I think about. You know.
it does elevate the experience, and that's what it's really all about. Like you
Oh
said,
yeah,
it's not the scores. You might not remember that forever, but who you were with and maybe what food you had on the course is what
absolutely.
stands out.
If you make it to Aiken
Um,
Golf Club, you get free apples or bananas after hole number 8. The snack shack
Oh
there will
yeah,
give you get a free apple or a banana if you want. Yep.
nice.
there yeah. All right. What's your favorite golf course logo? And this does not have to be just in the Carolinas, but
Yeah. Gosh, Burning Tree is so good. Up in DC, I love the Burning Tree logo. Also, that place is incredible. I think it's an elite hang for sure. Um,
we like
Whistling
that.
Straits stands out. You know, the Old Man Winter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cypress.
Yeah.
I think it's just so classic and instantly recognizable. Sleepy. You know, so many of those. I was fortunate. I see your Lido logo there, Robbie. I was fortunate to play Lido a couple years ago, right after it opened. That place
So
is
great.
special and such a cool logo. So, yeah, there are a bunch of them out there. I feel like you know, that trend of courses and even like classic courses that have a lot of, you know, deep histories are embracing that kind of secondary or alternate logo and having some fun with it. So that's been
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What has been your favorite pro shop purchase?
What did you get at Cyprus is the
Right.
question
That's
he
the
wanted to
answer.
ask.
What
Yeah.
did I not get at Cyprus? That's probably yeah, the Visa got hit pretty hard on that one. But I did get it's not in the photo or in the frame, but I did get a framed print at Cyprus that's hanging on my wall of the 15th hole. You know, I got something from I'll make this Carolina centric. I got a little sign from Dorming Club. It's a little wooden. You guys have been there?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, there's one of the holes where, you know, after the sixth hole, you have to cross over a couple of holes to get to seven. And one of the holes you cross over is kind of a tee box for like, I don't know, 13 or 14 or something like that. Well, there's a little wooden sign there that says "This ain't seven." Here, I'll actually grab it.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Uh, so it's this. So
That's
this is the
great.
sign at Dorming Club, the Saint Seven. So I grabbed this from the pro shop, which I thought was cool. It's, you know, it's hand carved,
Yeah.
it's wood, and
That is.
it's something like very unique to the golf course. So
And just to let everybody at Dormy know, he got it at the pro shop and not on the course. So
Not from
that's
the
right. Yeah, I
course.
did not steal it from the golf course.
That's why they
Yeah.
started selling it, because they kept replacing the
Yeah.
sign over and over
Yeah.
and over.
But you know,
Probably.
that kind of stuff of like, you know, these shops again, kind of piggybacking off the logo thing. Like they're being super creative on the merchandising front.
Yeah.
And Dormy Club, Dormy Network,
Yeah.
you know, even like up at Ballyhack and Hidden Creek and all of their other properties have just, you know, they've really embraced that. And every time you go in there, it's hard not to spend a
Yeah.
couple of $100s on stuff.
Yeah. I just had a conversation with Howie from the foundation. Like, what a great guy. And
Yeah.
so hopefully maybe we can do some stuff with these guys and maybe even
That's great.
go see a golf course or two. So
Absolutely.
who knows? All right. Next question. What is one thing golfers should do?
Should do. Gosh, that's a great question. I mean, it's so philosophical, Robbie.
Very,
Um,
very many directions you can go. That's probably not the
yeah.
correct grammatically way to say that, but
Very many directions.
yeah.
Man, I feel like I should have been prepared for this question.
It's more fun this way.
One thing golfers should do. Um, I think, you know, people should play the game the way that they want to play it. And if
Mm,
that's strictly by the rules, then great. If it's not, that's fine too. If you want to, you know, fluff your ball up a little bit in the fairway and hit it, or if you want to tee it up from someplace different, or you don't feel like grinding over 3 footers and you want to scoop it and go to the next tee. I think that, you know, kind of like, you know, I'm kind of also a big like whiskey bourbon guy. Like, I think you should enjoy it the way that you like it. And if that's over ice, or if that's neat, or if that's in a cocktail, or, you know, golf is kind of the same way. If you want to be super strict about it and by the book, then that's fine. There's time and place for that. But if you just want to be casual about it, you know, we can do that too. So
Great answer.
yep,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, last question. Finish this sentence. The best part of golf is.
Friendships, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think about, you know, for me, you know, the biggest drawback into working in golf was the people that I met, and that can sound a little cliche, but it doesn't mean that it's not true. You know, it's just like the people that the friendships that I've made that have lasted years and years, all because we connected. We randomly got paired up one time at a golf course, or I met them somewhere, and how those relationships endure because of your shared interests and passions. And um, you know, I just think that, you know, I've met so many people along the way that have those relationships have transcended, you know, whatever its original purpose was, whether we got randomly paired up or whether we had some sort of professional or business related reason to connect. We've then, you know, kind of built personal relationships and friendships that have grown out of that. And so, yeah, I think for me, it's the friendship side of the game. You know, I mean, that's, you know, there's something to be said for going out and playing by yourself. You know, that can be a little, you know, meditative and enjoyable every once in a while. But for the most part, like, what draws me to golf is getting a chance to go out and spend a couple hours with my buddies, having a good time, getting some sunshine and fresh air, and enjoying, you know, a little competition and just hanging out, you know,
Right.
being a dude, I guess.
Yeah, just hanging out. Well,
Yeah,
very well said. Well, Josh, we appreciate you for coming on and kind of sharing this. But like you just alluded to, man, we appreciate the opportunity to get to know you more and kind of grow a friendship because we're all in the Carolinas. Well, Jonathan, close
100%.
enough, but yeah, we look forward to the next time we can hang and maybe it's even playing some golf. So we appreciate you coming on today.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Robbie, I will see you in Columbia at some point. Jonathan, I
Yeah,
will hit you up when I'm in Augusta in a couple weeks. Maybe
yeah.
we can get a beer or something.
Heck yeah.
That sounds good. Well, for Josh and Jonathan, this is Robbie. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.